yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome and thank you for joining us. Terrific Thursday's edition of Talk Today that starts from the blessings on high as the rain falls and, feeds the weeds, makes it all just a wonderful day. Well, we want you to be a part of our discussion as we invite our friends from the YMCA to join us 1 o'clock. Get a chance to focus on education as we talk to good folks over at CIS, and then 1:30. Well, almost 20 years hence, something transpired. Yeps, we had a child. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us as we invite you to be a part of the discussion. There's a quick appeal, not just a reminder. Please always be safe on our roads. When it's raining, be extra careful, please, for your own protection, for those in your cars as well as everybody else around us. So if you can, I know you don't need reminding, but a special prayerful public appeal, to be safe everywhere, but especially now. Miss Paula, how are you?
I'm great. I'm very happy today. And also, thank you for that, because it's so important. We got to keep the community safe from various angles. And this rain was probably a surprise for some. So just be prepared. Still hurricane season.
And yes, exactly. And this is another good reminder.
Sure.
Right? But as you enter and exit your cars, you're dashing across the parking lot, in and out of buildings. It could be a little bit slippery, Just be a little bit careful. Yes. You want to get there safely. You want to get there on time, but you want to get there safely.
Yes.
And that means driving to and fro, but it also means in and out of your cars as you move in and out of the buildings. Don't slip and fall, And for some people, it seems that the more you... What my friend says, I beseech thee. The more you try to appeal to them, the more they seem to be offended and try to disprove you. All you're saying, hey, please be careful. And boy, they're going to be as uncareful, careless as possible. Well, that's another day.
Hopefully not.
Well, you know what? Mom always says, you can't hear, you can feel. So let's hope that doesn't have to come to that. But as I said, I was thinking that we live in a great place, even though the world seems to be in turmoil and there are a lot of despots elected, self-appointed, looking at self-promotion, and they're in places for 4 decades and nobody slapped them upside the head, figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
Keep them in check. But we still got people with a winning heart, a willing smile.
Absolutely, especially here in the Cayman Islands.
Especially here.
Our people are so generous with their time, opening their hearts, opening their doors to you. Mm-hmm. So we're just very blessed that our islands have these beautiful people. And we celebrate it actually even more today. Exactly.
And I'm consciously and deliberately going to ask us to champion the things that we believe in.
Sure.
To question some of the things and to challenge sometimes some of the things, because in doing so, you take a sports event. whether it's an individual tennis match, whether it's a great football match and two opposing teams with a deep bench and fantastic fans and coaches, the better the play, the more competitive, the match, the better the outcome, because then the next match can improve. So with that in mind, in the Cayman context, we're seeing a lot, and we're not questioning whether we have views about international agencies that are positive or otherwise. The fact that, say, in this case, as you're going to share with us, the UN recognizes the International Day of Charities.
Yes.
We can embrace that in our country, and we can contribute in a meaningful way that not only impacts the Cayman Islands, but hopefully serves as an example to the rest of the world, not just the region.
Absolutely. It goes beyond our islands, and especially with the beautiful work the YMCA does. Mm-hmm. It's 2024 when we actually celebrate 180 years of rich history of this worldwide movement, creating youth development, but also social progress. The local impacts that every of the YMCAs are doing in their communities is profound, and that's something that we are very proud of. And especially this year, we acknowledge it, we celebrate it. And today, with the United Nations observing International Day of Charity, really gives the opportunity for our communities, for the citizens, especially of these islands, to take the time to volunteer or get to know one of the charitable causes on our islands, create awareness about what they're passionate about when it comes to charity, or when it's possible, help with a donation.
Yeah. I like the fact that you shared. I mean, this year, YMCA, 2 decades shy of 2 centuries of celebrating, a collaborative approach to not just engaging, but assisting our communities. And with the YMCA, we're seeing, again, the little that I understand, there's a charter, a mission, a vision, a shared ethos, but it can go into respective communities and deliver what Sir Alden has famously, got on us all to repeat, a bespoke approach to that particular community's needs at that particular time.
Yes,
which is important.
Yeah, it's critical. We listen to what the community needs are. We act upon this. And always at the center of what we do is really that community servicing, thinking of our youth and how they're going to become the country's, nation's future. Yeah. And so how do we do best for them at every stage, right? So, yeah, what you mentioned, it's definitely critical, acting upon the local community's needs.
And when we look in the Cayman context, I want everyone to champion that thing that they think is great, to celebrate their own sort of richness. But with Cayman, the fact that there's so much on offer here, and we're all here. If we can contribute as we extract, if we can all see the importance of giving, of sharing, of caring, sounds like, one of those little shows your children would watch. But it is true. It is that sort of approach, those shared values, that thing that if it's inculcated, into our ethos, it makes us a better place.
Yes. I think that it comes from within. So as you become a better citizen, a better human being, you're collectively helping the community to grow and also to grow these generations of talented young children that are really looking forward to just become the best they can be. And that's one of the reasons we continue to deliver quality services at the Y, between sports, after-school program in the government schools, the camp. It's about 15 weeks a year. All of the other youth and leadership development programs that we host are just centered into what the children and the teens need.
And I think, recognizing that there is more good in the world than there's bad. Unfortunately, the bad, the negative, grabs the headlines from the politician trying to ensure that there's a particular stance, to the media trying to maybe, capture an audience and wider publication circulation, to others who are trying to, maybe scare people. But if we focus on the good, and in the Cayman community, there's thankfully a lot of good that we can focus on. There is this notion that if we would only unite, when we see the examples of many volunteering, just the Y, the many participating in the Y's programs, we have a perfect model to build that future by embracing the now. So when we come back from the break, tell us about some of the things you have. Just reflect on whatever you wish, and maybe a dreary, cloudy, grey, rainy day like today would be the perfect time to enjoy your tea.
Yes.
Or your bowl of fish tea would even be better as you chew on your fritter. You get to appreciate too much is given, much is required, and Cayman has a lot. So let's talk about it.
True.
All right, join us after the break, 1 o'clock. The weather holds. Our friends from CIS will join us, and then 1:30. 20 years ago almost, Hurricane Evan passed through. We show our resilience and our resolve. We're going to talk to you as we reflect on that. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
September 2024 is World Alzheimer's Month, and this year the theme is Time to Act on Dementia, Time to Act on Alzheimer's. This global campaign aims to raise awareness, challenge stigma, and highlight the positive actions taken worldwide to create a more dementia-friendly society. Dementia is a term for progressive brain disorders that impact memory, thinking, behavior, and emotions. Alzheimer's and vascular dementia make up about 90% of cases. While we can't change our genes or stop aging, we can lower our dementia risk by staying active, eating well, and socializing. Maintaining heart health by avoiding smoking and excessive alcohol also reduces the risk of dementia and other diseases. Join the Alzheimer's and Dementia Association's district meetings to learn more about diagnosis, care, and support. Dates will be announced on Radio Cayman through your constituency offices and district community officers. For more information, please call 924-4170.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. And from the YMCA, make sure I get it right, the Director of Philanthropy and Community Engagement.
Yes.
Miss Paula Robinson.
You got it right.
It's important to at least make a genuine attempt to get it right. But oftentimes it's so much easier to do the right thing. And in the Cayman context in particular, even more so. And I'm glad that many of us are trying to. So through the YMCA's leadership, the community's partnership, we're seeing our young people with a hopeful, positive future.
Oh, absolutely. Especially this month of September is so beautiful. Getting back to the school calendar year. We have the extended after school at 11 government schools, so from primary to high school. And we have a site in Cayman Brac. So to have the team members back, excited, re-energized, really looking forward to deliver quality programs for the children and for the teens is something really special. And I see them nurturing themselves, growing, and they're very talented and they're really dedicated to the kids. It's beautiful to see their work comes from the heart. So it's a nice way to get the month of September started.
And that's something that you shared increasingly, Ms. Paula, is that the notion that there are many wonderful opportunities in this country for people to assist, whether with financial assistance, with their physical assistance as they volunteer. And with the Y, it is something that, as you said, the government schools, including on the BRAC, whether it's after school or other programming, it touches and reaches a wider cross-section of the community. And if you ever, as a volunteer or a sponsor, or just happen to be fortunate enough to be there observing, you see such a wonderful mixing of people, of things, and it's
especially my favorite camp. Those weeks where children are really having fun, they're making new friends. I mean, there's a lot of learning too, and my favorite is the outdoor activities that they take them to. But it's really so nice to see the blend, because we have students from both the government schools but also from the private schools during the weeks of camp, and it's a quality programming. The schedule the team has for them is just phenomenal, but it's really what I personally enjoy observing the most, when they are just being children.
That's
children being children.
And that, not just that innocence, but that thing that at least still exists until they kind of get connected to us, the adults, and get skewed. They interact. They see each other. There are no, sort of labels, no, these are the things. And we talk a lot about the stuff that they do, but how much of that is a reflection of us as the adult, whether that's the adult parent, coach, teacher, other part? Because these children playing, they're only interested in what is transpiring then. They don't see all the other things until some point later. And sadly, that's probably influenced by us, sadly, sometimes inadvertently.
Yes, well, we are very proud of the team, especially the youth leaders. They really are role models, and they inspire them. They really encourage them to be better. And when they deliver from the heart, it's something that you can tell. And I think the children also appreciate that. For us, it's important that we have as many possible children in our programs, becoming these programs a safe space for them. Not only like the teenage, we used to have a lounge at SciFec, and that was quite neat to host, but also the activities that we do at the primary level, not just the secondary level, that are so important for this, for these children and for the teens. So it's so nice that, especially via the Cayman Islands YMCA Financial Assistance Program that we host year-round, we leave no child behind from our activities. Our mission really is to help take a little bit of that burden of those parents who are experiencing financial hardship and can't really or necessarily afford some of what are already low registration fees on our end. But still, if they're challenged by that, we want to help them, because we want to make sure we don't leave any of the children behind. So that financial assistance from the Y, that program is critical for us to continue to grow.
And as you shared that, two immediate things jump out. One is that there may be a family that just can't afford it. So that will preclude that child. But there may be a family that, end of the day, this may seem as a luxury. And after all the necessary, essential sort of urgent expenses have to be paid, there's just a little bit left that's not enough. So how do we ensure that all of the children are, as much as possible, as best as possible, have access without the financial burden precluding them for participating.
Yes, and you mentioned something really important, which is, when you have covered your most important expenses to an extent, right? You always think about food and rent and all this critical. But we have been able to continuously communicate to not only the parents, especially as we have the children from the government schools, that's already 11 schools that we can reach, but also with our community messages, even our social media, we provide the financial assistance. There's an application form that just has to be completed, and every single application is reviewed carefully, but also it is not disclosed. There's a lot of privacy settings when it comes to that program, that assistance program. So we want to make sure that the parents don't feel like they're going to be exposed publicly, or we're going to talk about, why they need assistance publicly. This is all something that we truly respect. Yeah. We carefully review, or they carefully review in my team, those applications. And so we want to just make sure that the parents are aware of it, so that we can get more and more children into our programs.
And this is what leads us to the second thing. And as you were sharing, there is that sort of financial consideration that may serve as an impediment, may prevent certain people from accessing certain things as they would wish. But there's also a community obligation, not just to contribute, as Ms. Marlin talks about, time, talent, and treasure.
Yes.
But there's a level of accountability. So whether it's the Y or your church youth group or the sports program, for us as a community to serve as monitors, evaluators, by participating, by observing, by constructively, critiquing a word that we don't see that is actually positive. Right? A scientist publishes a paper and it only has validity and credibility when it's peer reviewed. That's a critique.
Yes.
They looked at this thing and they go, you know what, this has merit, no, but this doesn't. It's only then a peer reviewed paper has more sort of traction than something that they just popped out of the air and has no. And so we as a community, in evaluating what happens when we give money, when we give our time, when we're there watching something, we need to evaluate, we need to critique, we need to hold accountable so that the program is delivered on time, it's delivered in a safe way, it's delivered to the widest audience, it gives the impact that was desired, instead of just writing a check or just coming up and showing up. No, you need to be.
Yes, and that's actually something that we value tremendously. The local impact is not only that we track, but also that we make sure that we're growing it.
Okay.
It's really a two-way responsibility. When someone trusts you with their donation or with their time, you want to make sure that you are delivering quality. And so we have received such great reviews, not just from the parents, children that when they get collected from the schools, they don't leave. Their parents wait for them because they're for longer. It's a testament to what the team members are actually delivering, which is not just fun, but it's learning. And learning play is a great way to really encourage the youth.
I think many of us would probably agree that class, whether it's primary or middle or even university, that the teacher, the professor, whoever's delivering the lecture, the lesson, makes it fun. There's a joke, there's an experiment, there's something that's engaging. You remember that class and you remember perhaps the material, but you have a fond recollection and you're inclined to, let me explore, let me learn more, than the one where it was very pedantic. The teacher delivered the lesson and you got the information, but it was rote, as opposed to something that intrigues and instills a sense of inquiry, which is better, right?
Yes. I mean, many in our team really are educators at heart. It's incredible to see how they can reach to their children with an educational component in a way that it's perhaps for parents or even myself, so different, because they deliver it from the heart. They want the best for what's the child, and especially in those activities that we deliver. So it's really neat to see them always so joyful, so energized. They're always so happy. I mean, the singing that they do, I try to join in when possible because it's so much energy and the kids love it. I think of all ages, not just the youngest ones.
Young and young at heart.
Yes.
When we come back from this break, that fun can also be in learning, but can also be in giving. And I know you've had, as the Y, a number of fun raising activities where you put the fun in the raising.
We do.
So when we come back, if there's anything on offer, you can share with us, because it's through the collective sort of input, the collaborative approach, when our funds are sort of combining, have a compounding effect. Can you tell us about when we come back?
Well, absolutely. I love to talk about bingo night that's happening tonight. And
what's that song? B-I-N-G-O. Come on, Susie, sing it for me, won't you now?
Well, tonight is rock and roll bingo, so I'm going to switch that.
Well, what did Billy Joel say? It's all rock and roll to me. Well, that's going to be the song we're going to sing when we come back.
There you go.
Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The rich flavors of Italy just arrived at Subway. Say ciao to the Italianos. Our 3 new Subway Series recipes, carefully crafted with an Italian flair. Try the Hot Shot Italiano for an enticing and zesty touch. The tastier than ever Ultimate BMT, generously stuffed with a mix of ham, pepperoni, and salami. Or go all in with the creamy chicken bacon Alfredo. New Subway Series Italianos. Chef-crafted greatness in every bite. Elevate your game only at Subway. Delizioso.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And thank you for joining us. And from the YMCA, Miss Paula Robinson is our guest. Tonight you said it's bingo night?
Rock and roll bingo.
Okay, so I like rock and roll a bit, from Elvis to the more recent thing.
Good.
But I can't tell you, I saw rock and roller. But so what is rock and roll bingo? What is?
So actually Salty's restaurant opens it every Thursday for this great night. It's a lot of fun. It's family friendly where they basically play songs and you got to match the song that is playing with the options that you got on your bingo card. And so they got 4 rounds of this amazing lineup of songs. Every round has a winner. And the restaurant awards you with gift certificates, so it's very common to see the place jam-packed because it's quite a popular restaurant in Grand Harbor. So what we do on International Day of Charity at that night is we come in with a raffle, the opportunity to purchase bonus cards for the last round. The 4th round and last round of bingo actually is for the winner, there's $50 cash plus a $100 gift certificate. So that's a big prize that people are really looking forward to get awarded. So it gives us the opportunity to really spread the word about what is our annual campaign, the Caring Campaign, which is that fundraising initiative we have every year raise funds for the financial assistance program of the Y. It gives us the opportunity to interact with our community for them to a bit more. We will have volunteers on site, can speak of the charitable cause, can speak about the programs, or if they have questions about how to register children for our own programs, we can actually go over that with them whilst we are on site.
That's tonight. What time?
It starts from 7:30, but we encourage everyone to come in. Dinner 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., but the real fun from 7:30 onwards.
All right. So bingo. And this is where I think we do something with family and friends. We get a meal. We can raise funds for, and as a sort of a compliment to what you're doing, Winadasi, the Alzheimer's and Dementia's.
Yes.
They've had a couple of bingo nights and we've been, sort of coming along.
Good.
You don't only feel good about your evening out and your contribution, you actually recognize, one, the need that you didn't realize existed.
Yes.
And 2, how you're limited, very, very almost in your mind, little or nothing contribution is actually major and meaningful.
It's huge, absolutely.
Right? And you think your $2 or your 2,000, whatever it is, isn't anything. But man, it actually has a
it creates a lot of impact, yeah. And actually, Miss Dorothy from Adashi, she does a phenomenal job with information that she provides on the night. Such another great cause.
And this is where, to what we shared earlier, in the Cayman community, there are many opportunities. Thankfully, there are many people who are giving as much as they can. There are very few places where you can do that, as is, very
true.
Demand. So
yes, good. The restaurant actually opens the bingo to be free to play, so you can if you just want to pop by and have a great night playing bingo, that's absolutely fine. We just want to have the opportunity to see as many more people from our community to spread the word about our charitable cause. And of course, anyone that is able to support us purchasing raffle tickets or any of the bonus cards tonight, well, all those funds will go directly to the financial assistance program via the YMCA annual caring campaign.
And I think many times we, the adult, with our friends or as the parents and the wider family, we're looking for something to do that allows us. So you're telling us now we can get some food.
Yes.
We can have some fun.
Yes.
And we can help to raise funds.
Yes.
Right? Sounds like
and great prices.
Yeah, I think it's an all-exclusive paid to Susan's retreat on the bluff. No, that's not on the price. You have to have access.
I don't think I got that one on my lineup for tonight. That'll be the next event.
She's like, why behave? No, but good prizes. Can you share? Or you?
Yeah, of course. We have gift certificates from Häagen-Dazs, Burger Shack, Salty's Restaurant. Good. So there's a long lineup. Is Island Naturals Retail, Foster's $50 certificate, Ruby's Walker's Road. There's a $25 gift certificate. There's a great mix. I think there's something for everyone, and there's about 10 of them for the night.
And this is where the wider community, from the individual to the corporate, they contribute. And again, you get a $50 here, $25 there. You get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It just shows that each sort of element adds greater value.
Yes, you brought a great point. Actually, I gotta give a quick kudos to Kensington offices here in Georgetown. They're coming together. I think it's about 20 of them that'll come out tonight from their offices. So we appreciate the support. Yeah. I know the team at Integra that just recently opened in Harbor Walk. Yeah. They'll be bringing a little group too. So offices are trying to get together, come out, have dinner, have a social. It's kind of like a nice outing too.
Again, good team built in, but it's just a good way to maybe unwind in a space that gives you a little bit of time to let your hair down. I mean, you can see. So that's 6 dinner, 7:30 for bingo.
For rock and roll bingo.
Rock and roll bingo.
Yes, you need to stop by and check it out.
Maybe I should.
You should,
maybe I should. It'd be a surprise guest appearance.
There you go.
No, I thank you for that, because it's been a beat that I haven't done enough for myself, and to enjoy. A couple of the team members here from time to time, we've gone to some of these for Adashi in particular.
All right,
and
yes.
It's amazing how, whether it's that particular bite of that food that you ordered, just seems to taste better because of the laughter.
Yes,
that
the company.
Competitiveness, even amongst your table, where the answer is this, and say, no, it's this, and then you find out you both were wrong.
Yeah.
But you were
and
so
you
close.
laugh about it.
Yeah, and then that discussion and that sort of recollection resonates for a long time thereafter.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that'll be something that other, corporate entities, but extended family and friends will do, and supporting you guys though.
Yes, it'll be a lot of fun. It really makes it for a social environment that is quite, family friendly, as I mentioned, but also it's quite fun. And it's not snobbish, it's not pretentious, so you just want to make new friends, actually.
Set me up to make a joke, but I'll leave that for now. And for those who live in that way, it's on the way home, maybe take a a small detour and avoid the traffic somewhat.
It's true.
Get an early supper. Apparently, if you eat early, it's better for your health.
Is it? Oh, okay. I'm taking notes.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of figured it out too. Someone said you must be European, dinner for you is 10.
Oh, right.
But it makes a difference, if you eat early. I've had friends who actually said that it doesn't, if they eat the same thing earlier and not, say 6 before 7 as opposed to 10 and 11.
Right.
They see a difference, right? Certainly, I'm not going to dispense nutrition information without being paid for it, okay?
Exactly.
I just kidding. Oh, but this is where I think we can reflect on what we have here and make a special appeal, as I did at the outset, to be safe on the roads, but also to be very deliberate and conscious in coming together, as a country, and not allow some of this stupidness that is, globally seem to be,
There's so much trouble out there. And just to mention before I forget, if you can't make it tonight for, understand, there is also another opportunity to help. The month of September, we're hosting a retail fancy garage sale. It's at the Georgetown Yacht Club, the upstairs room. So it's indoors, it has AC, you have the restroom facilities to check out the clothing that you're going to purchase. That is organized by a third party, but on the 29th of September, which is the last Sunday of this month, it benefits the YMCA. So it's just the $5 to come in and find out what are the best deals on island, because there's plenty of options, not just for women, but also for men, not only for clothes, but there'd be toys, books, you name it. Yeah. So that's another fundraising initiative for this month.
The 29th?
Yes, Sunday.
And, maybe between then, if it's a phone call, at least a reminder, because a lot of people participate just to find a way to continually give.
Yes.
And
which is so beautiful. Yeah. Yes.
And that's one of the things that's so remarkable in this country. And if you listen and deliberately try to hear and understand, people who are great and make great contributions in other places find it, not only are they more willing, but it's much easier to do so.
Yes,
and for those who wanted to but were reluctant, or who didn't because of whatever, as they're in the Cayman space, it's a natural, not just willing, but a desire to do so. So I'm glad that we can do that.
Yeah.
So bingo night tonight.
Bingo night tonight. Shop for a cause, 29th of September. And our website, ymcacayman.ky, is always up and welcoming everyone for information, but also for donations for support.
All right. Well, you know what? I think that if we want to see a better place, we ourselves got to make that first effort.
True.
To be as best as we can. Iron sharpens iron, they say. Rising tide floats all ships. Let's not make those become, cliches and not just repeat as idioms, but let's make it our ethos. And, your sort of stature isn't in your physical presence. It's in your conscious, deliberate, meaningful presence.
Absolutely.
Act. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We are really always so pleased with the opportunity to join you in studio.
Yeah.
I appreciate you welcoming us today, especially on International Day of Charity. And just another opportunity for our Cayman community to think about what their charitable cause may be in their hearts, and either help raise awareness, help at an event, or help when possible with a contribution.
Your country needs you, and I believe, what a song, make peace, not war. The more we can live, love, and laugh, the more we find that through our learning we make, a life that is actually not just leaving a lasting legacy, but it's one that creates, within our people, something that has, eternal, benefit. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, listen, even on rainy days, we can be positive.
Absolutely. Rainy days, best days.
Rainy days and Mondays always make me. Susan, stop it. Hey, I sound good in the shower, okay? And it's raining. See?
Miss Susan, cut it off.
Yeah, no, she did. All right, to our listeners, join us after the break. But remember, the YMCA is, sort of rock and roll bingo night tonight.
Yes.
All right. Join us after. We welcome you as you continue to listen to us.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and right.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. Public Accounts Committee today is focusing on a variety of aspects of improving employment for Caymanians. The PAC is interviewing witnesses to follow up on recommendations from a 2024 Auditor General's performance report. You can listen to the proceedings live on Breeze 105.3 FM. In international headlines, Olympic athlete Rebecca Cheptegei has died days after being doused in petrol and set on fire by a former boyfriend. The 33-year-old Ugandan marathon runner who competed in the recent Paris Olympics had suffered extensive burns after Sunday's attack. The authorities in northwest Kenya, where she lived and trained, said she was targeted after returning home from church with her 2 daughters. French President Emmanuel Macron has named Michel Barnier as Prime Minister almost 2 months after France's snap elections ended in a political deadlock. Mr. Barnier, 73, is the EU's former chief Brexit negotiator and led talks with the UK government between 2016 and 2019. A veteran of the right-wing Republicans Party, he has had a long political career and filled various senior posts both in France and within the European Union. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority would like to thank you, the Cayman community, for voting us the Best of Cayman Islands 2024 in 13 medical categories. As the largest and longest healthcare provider in the Cayman Islands, we have been caring for you for many generations, helping the people of our islands live longer, healthier, and happier lives. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky or call 949-8600.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July, 1936, Captain Fred Elman Scott was the 5th child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Not only did Captain Scott work the seas for over 52 years, but he was mathematically inclined. In the early 70s, Captain Scott received his first calculator, eventually moving on to computers. After retiring from sea, Captain Scott used his knowledge of navigation, his love for mathematics, and general knowledge to write various computer programs that would impact the lives of the people of the Cayman Islands, such as payroll calculation and a program that could tell the depths at any point of the Georgetown Harbor, which would allow him to give any ship in port the coordinates to drop anchor. However, his pride and joy was his weather program that could detect when a storm formed anywhere in the world, and was able to track and forecast its path. To create this program, he first drew the world map by using actual coordinates from the various coastlines around the world, including the most minute coves. This information would be transmitted by his shipping mates from around the world, making him the local reliable source on storm predictions.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And always, if they would allow me to share publicly, not what they do behind the scenes, because it will seem seamless, but the fantastic team we have a Radio Cayman. Just honored to work with such an amazing talent of committed, dedicated team members. And as they shared, when it's done right and the public is served with the greatest of respect and resourcefulness and professionalism, you don't need to know what goes on behind. But man, they make it seamless. So you look good when you feel good. Maybe it's true, but you look good when the people are as committed to the process and to the professional delivery as the next. Hey, we are the best radio station, hands down. I don't say that without any fear of contradiction. So we want to hear from you, because going into an election, whether it's going to be tomorrow or it's going to be February or it's going to be April or postponed to June, it doesn't matter. Once it's a free and fair election with all of us who are registered to vote participating, those who are considering contesting, who are going to collaborate, we want to move our country in a very positive direction. Now, notice I didn't say going forward. And to the individual who asks, well, why don't you say, we're going to move forward? Well, forward isn't always positive, is it? Think about it. Sometimes, to get where you need to go, you maybe need to sidestep and come in bolder. You may have to sort of just stay in one spot. But the scripture says, wait, just tarry for a minute. Sometimes you make a step to the left or to the right, and it's not a song. You got to do a diagonal thing. Sometimes you got to sort of go around and shift and come back. But as long as we're moving forward together. Forward together. So share with us. Let us know if you can hear us clearly and audibly. It's loud enough in your end without you having to turn up the volume on your radio or volume setting. But be mindful that not just to whom much is given, much is required, but be mindful that if you don't say what you're thinking, how is someone going to know what you're thinking? And if you're not sure how to say it because you're not, in your mind, you've been somewhat beaten and battered and told that, you can't speak and you shouldn't say anything, well, you know what, step out. We have a space for you that we want to listen and hear from you. We're going to help you to, say what you have to say. And maybe you're mindful that, like some of us, to speak with a cousin is a bit of a challenge. So take your time and we can navigate the expletives. Or you might say, well, I get so flustered and frustrated that I don't know. Well, that's fine. That's passion. So as you make your impassioned plea, we're going to want to hear from you so that together, if we're moving in a positive direction, or we are each other's, keeper, we're here to nurture and support. It's only true that. And here's something else. Some people believe that in order to talk to others, you have to be in agreement. Not necessarily. Again, my view, and you can, in fact, I ask you to challenge if you don't agree with it. Certainly call and agree if you are, but if not, that's fine. Discussion, dialogue, and discourse is about having the space to share, to agree, but also to have an opposing view. Not for opposition's sake, but for the notion that if someone says something and you don't agree with it, then you say, okay, I hear you, but what about this? Here's the other thing that I've believed that we are unwilling to acknowledge. Two people make a statement. Now, they're two different statements. They both can be right, can they? They both can be wrong, but they both can be correct. One can be right, one can be wrong. The problem is each person sometimes saying something believes, as the listening public looks on, that the both statements are correct. Maybe that's possible. And if it is, you tell me. So, on this rainy Thursday afternoon, as we ask you to please be extra careful on our roads, careful always, but even more so, when it's rainy, slippery when wet, they say, all right? So your cars can skid, not just going into the roundabouts and turns, but as you're braking, it may not be, what it is. Give us a call, 949-8037, 949-6990. You can WhatsApp call, 925-3261. You can also share with us on the Flow toll-free line, 1-800-534-8255, and have your say. Now, again, some people are a bit reluctant because of where they work, to whom they're connected to. Maybe for whatever reason they don't want to say that thing because people might malign them, might misunderstand, misinterpret, misapply. They may mistake. That's fine. But if you aren't able to say what you think you should say because of fear of victimization, you've been intimidated, you're fearful that you may be ostracized, castigated, relegated to the margin, are we really in a democracy? Is it a really free and fair society? Now you sit and say, well, wait a minute. You're a civil servant. You are prevented from speaking publicly. Well, should it be that way? But then ask yourself the same question. A person who is either A, self-employed, B, working for another private sector entity, is that person precluded from public pronouncements? Or is that person, limiting what that person would say, this sort of self-imposed, restriction on saying anything as they limit their public comments out of a fear that they might be maligned or they might be denied admission or access or some public accolade. And as we self-censor, again, is that helpful? Now, politics, they say, is in everything. And the only other thing that impacts us, perhaps even more so, is economics. Not finances, not accounting, not just the money. Economics. In that every single day, in every single minute almost, we're making an economic decision, whether we like it or not. The thing we say or not to say, the thing we do or decide to do then or not then, there's a cost, an opportunity cost. So with the government, in this country, looking at the political landscape, many are questioning, well, why don't we, have the referendum, for example, on whether we should do a cruise port at the next election? And we're hearing the government through the Honorable Tourism Minister saying, well, we need to know what we're doing. Some will respond, well, wait a minute, if you have an answer that's not binding, is it meaningful? If you have an answer that isn't fully sort of explored in the sense as one of our listeners shared one day, well, what's the cost of this thing? When are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? Where are we going to do it? Is it meaningful? Again, sometimes the thing that we're looking at is a good thing, but maybe not fully sort of discussed and developed because, we're denied, whether deliberately or in our own minds, that opportunity to question and to engage. So let's not let that happen, because if it's today that you're seeing somebody else being denied that opportunity and the next day is another, at what point, will you realize that now is you being denied? And is it at that point too late? Is it that, as they say, it's only when you actually experience that thing that you're then and only then willing to advocate for it, speak out against it? Maybe then it's too late. So 949-8037 or 949-6990. WhatsApp call 925-3261 or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Now I won't speak to it only to the extent of asking you, if you wish, you can share your thoughts. We've seen in the public domain, and many may say, well, it's only there now because we're getting closer to an expected general election. Many would say, well, it just takes time for things to come to light. Whatever the reasons, we'll see in the public domain registered public documents indicating that the former Premier Panton, giving the Health Minister Turner a sizable loan. For some of us, that's just pocket money. For others, it's more than we'll ever make in a lifetime. And we're questioning, well, is that? Well, the question is, what's your view on it? 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp call 925-3261, or you can use the Flow toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255 and share your thoughts with us. There are many people who don't say anything. the actions speak louder than their words. Their silence, as they say, is deafening. And it isn't because they don't have anything to say. They just, biding their time. They're just waiting, and you'll see it come. But sometimes that may be too late. And then there are those who are constantly talking that it really loses its impact because what they're saying isn't relevant, isn't timely, isn't meaningful. They just empty vessels, as they say, make the most noise. At the end of the day, the society needs to ensure that all and sundry alike have the opportunity to share. There needs to be a sense of courage, that courageous approach to sharing and knowing who you are, where you are, when you are, and what you are. But are we losing that? And any comment about the, sort of socio-demographic seems to create a lot of, vitriolic responses. Anything that is a semblance of a championing of Cayman and Caymanians and that, what should be national pride is somehow misconstrued. We seem to think that being pro-Cayman and pro-Caymanian is anti. Well, where did we get that? Why are we allowing that to transpire? When people, look back to previous administrations in our government that said maybe it's wise to try to develop and implement and enforce a policy where your immigration is such that you keep a strong as possible, careful watch on your population growth, on on your population from the perspective. Let me rephrase that. In respect to one growing group relative to another, so that it doesn't find that you're being displaced or you create an imbalance. And people say that's great. Now some are sharing, well, when did that change? Why did that change? What is the impact of that change? Are we looking at it closely? And when some see statistical information that's seemingly from official sources and they're not sure if they're accurate, is there anyone willing to question it? Is there anyone with the academic and or practical experience willing to speak to or against it? Now, when people don't see, say, or share, how are we going to understand what it is that is actually, obtained as a result of that information? Now, we're all very mindful and respectful, and anybody who steps up and speaks out seems to somehow, get the hammer brought down, and that may be the order of the day as a means to silence those who would just question. Again, are we allowing that? And if so, is it a democracy? So 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp call 925-3261. Or use the Flow toll-free number at 1-800-534-8255. And as we look increasingly at things, hearing many times sort of comments that are in the parking lots after the meeting, at the quiet discussions in some of other places, but very rarely in a public domain, except for this thing we call social media, where people seemingly attempt to remain anonymous to share their perspective. Now, if that is because they are fearful or that they've had prior experiences that have not been positive, wow, what does that say about who we are and what we're becoming, aside of what some may have said we have become? So your view, 949-8037, 949-6990. Let me, in sharing what I did, reflect on a comment, and I was trying to figure out how to broach an individual, and I've responded to ask him, come in, share your view, talking about the politics and the political landscape and the like. Take this call and then I'll reference that point. Let's go to the phones. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. You got open line for a while?
We do, and then at 1:30 we're scheduled to have a discussion on Hurricane Ivan, I think it is, right? We'll see. So, but we have you on the line now. We're grateful for your time.
Well, thanks. Well, I was a bit caught off guard when I came back to the car. And I could tell by your conversation that there was open line, and Susan confirmed it.
Yes. Isn't she a good confirmationist?
Susan is the best.
Oh, man. I think there are many people that would agree with you. One or two that would disagree, but we got to talk to them. No, she is indeed. She is indeed.
Exactly. Well, Sterling, it's another beautiful day in the island, and it's a lot to be grateful for. In spite of everything that's happening around the world today,
Mm-hmm.
and we just need to start appreciating each other more and looking out for each other more than we do, because a lot of us don't have each other's back. And when I say have each other's back, is when you're going to cross someone that may need some help, and you just keep on trucking like you didn't see it,
Pretend they don't exist, huh?
Pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
But,
so sad.
Yes, and Sterling, I know our garbage has to be picked up on Thursday mornings. But Sterling, I believe I could be wrong. Someone can call and clarify it. I think it was under John that they start bringing this garbage out earlier in the morning. I could be wrong, so I would ask if someone could forgive me, correct me. But Sterling coming out at 2 o'clock in the morning to pick up all garbage in the neighborhood, is really a bit disturbing, because once they wake you up, it's not too easy to go back to sleep and go be up around 5:30 in the morning to hit town in the traffic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a one-time pickup for the island. I mean, for the districts, one-time pickup. Well, you can practice it one time. And the garbage is sitting from Thursday to Thursday to be picked up, and the majority of it is not even secured. I was trying to walk in the neighborhood this morning, and I came across a garbage bin that made out of material, out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And Sterling, if you see the garbage that was thrown into that, it seems like it's been sitting there for some time. I just don't understand how people can do the things that they do, especially when it comes to keeping this island clean, and just throwing their garbage up there and expect other people to just come in and pick it up like they're animals themselves, or the dog and the chicken tear it out. All people are garbage collectors or sanitation workers are not no animal. They should be treated respectfully when they come out to do their job. Garbage should be put in the bin properly. If they got problem with it being secure, put it in your back of the yard until the garbage truck is coming out. Everybody knows when the garbage truck is, what day it is on a Thursday, unless something happens.
Yeah, you know the day that your collection is, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have a tie for my garbage bag, I take a rubber band and tie it up with, take it round and round and round until it's, secure.
Yeah. If I might ask you, I mean, it's interesting that, how do I put it? In the Cayman context, you just referenced that, we have in some cases, other than the commercial collection, the residential is once a week. And there are jurisdictions both in the U.S., some of the counties in Florida, but also in the UK, that I'm told that you will get your household collection every 2 weeks. And in that time, you have to secure it in a certain way that it doesn't impact, the surrounding neighbors. It doesn't, get stink. You can't put it out until the night before, and sometimes only hours before, right? But yet in the Cayman context, not only people who come from North America or Europe, but we come from places where those are the laws, and they're heavily enforced, and you're sanctioned, you're fined if you don't follow along. But it would appear in very, very, very general terms that all of us, we just discard our refuse in such a way that is, if the Honorable Tourism Minister, Mr. Bryan, would allow me to use his words, just nasty, right? We're like a bunch of fudders, right? And that speaks ill against all of us.
Yes.
Because to your point, the fantastic job that the team over at the environmental department does when they come and they collect their garbage. Any of us that has had a job where we are picking up, after people. Let's say you're working as some of the maintenance people at the condos or the hotels, and you got to clean out the garbage areas or cut the grass, or you're in the hotels and condos, or even remember when in the schools as part of your class you were on duty and you went around with your teacher and you picked up, the little bit of garbage that was then versus the nastiness that we see now. Right? So when we compare what we're told, either from family who live there or from what we see in the media, or even ourselves who may have experienced personally, say in Japan or other places where the students in school, after they finish their lunch, they clean up, they take their trays away, as opposed to this thing that we have adopted here, where we think it's going to evaporate, or we just throw it down, or throw it from our cars, or we let it blow off the back of our trucks. Can I ask you, and this hopefully will offend enough of us that we take a conscious look at what we're doing. I'll give you an example. Let's drive along the main roads, right? The bypasses, as we call them. And there either is a government-sponsored program, a community initiative, a group of employees at an organization, or just the citizens in a particular community. And they go out Saturday morning, Sunday, or Friday afternoon, or whatever, and they pick up along the roadside, such that when that is done, you notice how pristine, how clean it is. Set a timer, and I bet you in short order, it's
right back.
Yeah. So how does it get there? Is it falling from the sky, or is somebody maliciously, deliberately, and just with such a thing, just throw it there?
Sterling, I'm glad you say that, because last week I was on the bypass there that goes into where Borden Pizza was. What a bypass called? What that highway called? I call it a Dart Highway, part of Dart Highway.
Well, it probably is, but yeah, there's still a Tibbetts Highway that terminates at the bottom of the
Not that one, the other one that down by Calypso Grill, that bypass down.
Yeah, well, I'm told that that's there still Tibbetts, and then when you get down to Bottom as we go up in the sound, and it's not Batamanu. People need to learn the state, and the damn road need to be spelled properly. You get to the end, you make a left, go towards the post office, or you make a right and you go up in the sound, right? That's the road, though. Yeah.
Sterling, last week I could not believe the garbage that was on that road on both sides. It was unbelievable.
Nasty.
Unbelievable. And like you say, less than 24 hours, it's out there again.
I mean,
I don't know what they'd be thinking. I think it just will sit done and jealousy and envious and.
But you have to wonder.
We got people here that they're here, but they don't allow Cayman. They allow that almighty dollar that is stronger than anywhere else that they probably come from.
Yeah.
Even the Caymanians don't even think the Cayman dollar is strong, because when you go to anywhere and break $100, bomb.
Yeah.
If you come home with $25, you're good.
Yeah. But that's to your last point. And for me, when I generalize, I'm including all of us, whether we are from here for decades or generations, whether we've been here for minutes. If we're here, what are we doing that is a negative impact? So let's just say we're driving along, and back of our truck, whether it's a work truck or it's our personal truck, is the thing blowing off the back of the truck? Is it a habit that we had from wherever, where we just toss the can, the straw, the cigarette butt, whatever it is, out the window? Whatever the reason is, right? Are we now looking at it and saying, hey, let's not let this? Before I say this other thing, one of our listeners writes and says, blessings to you and me, Mr. John, says, the listener says, I believe that those men, and I think it's primarily men as well, that collect the garbage should be treated with respect, which is what you're saying, and I thank that caller for also agreeing with you.
Yes, Sterling. I don't know what's going to take to keep this small island clean. Well, I know what's going to take part. One thing, the population needs to be cut back.
How much?
Because then, how much should it be cut back?
Yeah. 10%? 50%?
You don't want me to answer that.
Actually, I do, but I won't insist that you do.
I'm going to go with the ones and the zeros, so don't. You don't let me.
No.
But seriously, I know you got to go, but
yes,
seriously, these people, even the Caymanians, that the young ones that are coming up now,
Yeah.
They don't have any interest when it comes to keeping our island clean. Because when I see a student can throw something down on the ground, and I say, there's a garbage pan right there. Oh, that's what they're getting paid for. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah. Something has gone awry. And I appreciate you reminding us. And as you say that, there are many people, but, Mr. Rupert of blessed memory, he would always call and remind us of how important. There are others who we would see walking in our neighborhoods who, as we drove through their neighborhoods and they're out walking, they would be picking up garbage, right? They're taking their bikes. Yeah.
Sterling, just last week I had my friend here from Miami. We was at Smith Cove. And you should have saw the visitors that they're picking up garbage off the ground that people is throwing on the ground.
Yeah.
They didn't come here to pick up no garbage, but they're for the environment. They don't want to see it. And I didn't want to see it neither.
Yeah. There's something that has happened here that we have been perhaps consciously blind, maybe willfully blind. Maybe we now see it, but there is a lack of courage to say it. Maybe we're so polite that we don't say it. And probably why isn't just because we don't want confrontation, but the people closest to us in our own little circle, whenever we say something that calls into question a behavior, a comment, some action or inaction, instead of them supporting us publicly, they wait until the people go and they say, boy, glad that you got a backbone. But what they do while this thing is transpiring, they look at you and they go, what are you causing trouble for? Look at you. You see, for me, maybe it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because right is right and wrong is wrong, right? And there's a way, the time, the place to say things. But if we don't stand up and do the right thing, Cayman will become just like any other place that people look at and condemn. And we have some amazing people and we have a great opportunity. It just takes a willingness, a consciousness. And I hope that we find that to come together,
Yeah.
All right, before we go to the break, what do you want to share? Because you've been great.
I just got to say that it's sad to see what Cayman is becoming, especially with the garbage and all the crazy driving. I want to say, Sterling, we got all these 3 lanes going and 3 lanes coming, and I don't see nothing marked saying fire truck, ambulance, or police. Nothing.
Yeah. Well,
nothing.
You know what? The more I hear people speak, the more I recognize that there's a time and a place, and the time is drawing nigh. So maybe, just maybe, we'll find the resolve, the resilience that is within our people. We'll see that we owe a respect to those who've gone before, and as our aging parents, are there, that we need to now respect their contribution and their service and do the right thing. So, Miss John, there's you, there's me. I'm sure there are others. So let's do it together. All right?
Yeah, well, you take care. Thanks.
You're most welcome. Have a wonderful, safe afternoon, okay?
Yes, go and get those kids in a couple hours.
Thank you for
soon now.
Thank you for that kindness and that love that you and Miss Phyllis and all the others have for our children, and thank you for their looking after them and praying for them. Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a great one.
I will. Bye. Thank you. Let's pause and take a break. Our guests are waiting in the wings, and as we return, we're going to invite you to join us as we have the next segment. So stay tuned.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with Valley Med Pharmacy.
Refer a friend and get $50 to spend when your friend or family member opens a personal account with Cayman National. From July 9th to September 30th, 2024, C&B customers can earn $50 for each referral who opens an individual or joint personal account. Earn up to $500 with a maximum of 10 referrals. Visit CaymanNational.com for more details on this promotion and follow us on social media for updates. Terms and conditions apply.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments. September 4th to the 7th. At his Crew Road Clinic, appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Wayne Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email Dr. Porter Kman at gmail.com. That's drporterkman@gmail.com. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
Are you ready for non-stop laughter? Cayman's biggest comedy show returns. What Happening is happening, featuring the all-star cast. Bring the family, bring your friends, bring your grandma. Treat yourself to a night of fun and back-breaking, side-splitting, laughing until you choke comedy. Directed by Matt Brown.
Drop the joke, no man. What happening? Tell me.
At the Harquail Theater, September 27th until October 13th. Proudly presented by the Cayman National Cultural Foundation. Tickets on sale now at ticketsplus.ky.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome and thank you for joining us. And I got a quick chance to just look outside, and it's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day in the Cayman Islands, eh?
And every day here is a beautiful, blessed day, full with much opportunity, and I like it. I want everybody who is here to look and to love and to find a way to give. We're getting a lot. Some we know there is a financial gain that is beyond almost measure, certainly more than they'll ever have anywhere else. And that's not said to offend. I mean, the guy who's a professional in the city of London probably going to make more money here than anywhere else. But the person who's also here, there's safety, there's serenity, there's security, there's stability, there's social harmony. You can't put a price on that. And guess what? We got to hear Susan in the morning. So I mean, like damn, it's all good.
Best of both worlds, eh?
It's the best place. I mean, if we have hell in West Bay, they must be close to heaven, because you can't have one without the other. As is your yin, is your yang. I'm honored that Mr. Lucia and The talker is Miss Ventisha. Buenas tardes, mi amigo.
Don't speak that language.
No hablo español. Mira, girl. Just enough to get in trouble. How are you, Mom?
I am good, Sterling. Good afternoon to our listening audience, especially those over in God's country.
Easton?
Cayman Brack and Little Cayman.
You know what? I'm going to just leave that alone because I can't disagree with you. Isn't Cayman Brack and Little Cayman? I mean, I think like East End and all the way to West Bay, there's something beautiful about the Cayman Islands, but there's something spectacular about the Sister Islands.
Peace and serenity.
And I think that is what, when we, ladies, please guide me, because I tell my friends, you know, I was saying, lead me not into temptation, for I shall find it myself. That's what it says, right? Something like that. It doesn't say that, but that's what it should. We don't, close enough. Thank you, Miss T. Thank you. We don't realize how much we take for granted. And when we look at the Sister Islands, that peace, that tranquility, as you referenced, very evident. And the need for us as a country to champion it, from the political directorate to the publicly appointed, but to that individual. So it's raining, and I'm prayerful. I mean, more than ever. Please, on your roads, just slow down. Maybe pull off and park and just have your lunch.
If you can't see in front of you, put on your hazards, pull off to the side of the road, and just wait it out. Nothing is that important.
Yeah.
To cost you your life.
And what is so sad is that I'm driving along, right? And a few of us, it's raining, and we slow down. That makes sense to me. My dad would say, boy, listen, you know, better to get there safe than not at all. So we slow down. The car behind you zigzags in between the two cars, goes off on the shoulder of the road. I'm thinking, oh, now, if this was wrong to say out loud, I mean, I was in the car by myself. I didn't curse, but I said, what an idiot. Now, if that was wrong to say, you know, I apologize, but I can't find another word. And what was so sad is the car, as feared, zooms the pass, you know, zigzags between the two of us, spins out. Now, I mean, I could have run into it. The other car could have run into it. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I wanted to say that we are now 20 years in.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's our topic today? Because I wrote it down, but I might say it wrong. So, the talker, you tell us, Mom.
So, we're here today. Thanks for having us, Sterling. We're here today to talk about September the 11th, which for us here in the Cayman Islands is the anniversary of the dreaded Hurricane Ivan. Yeah. I know for many it brings back some trauma that they don't want to relive. I do feel and you know, always kind of apologize to people who went through Ivan, because I was still in university, so I had left probably a week and a half before to start back university in the US, so I wasn't here for that. But in talking to people here, I understand, you know, the trauma. We've gone through it all. I mean, those people who had 20 years ago had Ivan. A few years later, I had Paloma.
Was that anymore? That's good. I'll be serious for a minute.
So, you know, a lot of what we want to do on September 11th is not just to reminisce on the trauma and the devastation that was Ivan, but to look to the fact that we are flourishing now as a nation 20 years out from it. And it slowed us down. It didn't stop us.
Yeah. And I'm going to challenge us to an extent, right? And that, what's the topic, you know, flourishing after 20 years, you know, reflecting on Hurricane Ivan. Me being me who wants to always learn and understanding that you only know what you don't know what you don't know. And many of us think we're smart and we don't have no more sense than a piece of 2x4. But we're arrogant and we're condescending and we're imposing, right? Humility before honor. So I asked the question, are we flourishing or floundering? Right? And this is not for you to ask. This is for us. Are we in a space that is better and progress, or is it something that we confuse construction with development? And more importantly, as we look at Hurricane Ivan and understanding the resilience and the resolve and the resourcefulness in our people, and watching how we've come together. It was a leveling, for a short time. And I fondly recall with my brothers, there's this fellow. If I can ignore his accent, as the strong British accent that he has, if I can ignore that, this guy exhibited more heart, more love, more concern, for this country. And as our families left after that, he said, as he turned to me, he said, okay, let's go, and start rebuilding our home. Now, I won't call him out, but that resonates with me.
Right.
And
I think that's the Caymanian spirit as
yes.
well. And I love the fact that you used the word resilience.
Yeah.
So a couple of days ago, Miss Anita Ebanks, who was the original museum director, sent me just a little quote from, William Hearst, his book, which goes back to 1910. And it was, considering after hurricane, he said, after each hurricane, the inhabitants of the Cayman Islands pulled themselves together, and on no single occasion did they, seek help from abroad. But it speaks highly of the independence of the people. And honestly, that occurred in 1910. He wrote that, and that still held true in 2004 when we went through Hurricane Ivan.
Yeah.
That is the resilience of people. Unlike Ventisha, I was actually here on island, so I went through the entire 36 plus hours of Hurricane Ivan. But afterwards, like you said, people came out. We were all in the same level playing field. People came out and they worked together and we rebuilt this country. And I think that is the resilience of what makes Cayman and Caymanians who we are. And since Ivan, we've had quite a few new additions to the island. Some people have not gone through a hurricane. For me, when I reflect back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I went through Allen in 80, Gilbert in 88, and then, Ivan in 2004. But prior to that, most of us, our reference to any major hurricane was the 32 storm.
Yeah.
So, Ivan was very, it was hugely documented, a lot of people, different population size, and it impacted Grand Cayman significantly to the point that we're, people still recall it and people still remember it. And I always tell people when I look back at that, I can survive a hurricane, no problem. I can put the windows, boards in the windows, water, etc. But the hardest part that no one ever prepared you for is afterwards, not having those amenities that we're used to, no water, no electricity, cars were flooded, you had to walk. That to me really brought out the resilience in our Caymanian people.
Yeah.
So with our exhibit in the West Bay taking place on September 11th, starting at 5:30, Ventisha? 5:30 p.m., we're inviting people to come out. We have different agencies there. And it's a chance for us to pause and reflect to see how far we've come and how well we've built back as well. So last year, I had opportunity to visit a few other Caribbean islands, and they also were impacted by hurricanes around the same time as Ivan, and they haven't recovered yet.
Yeah.
So when you look at Cayman, the category 4 or 5 that we, got hit with.
Or 6 or 8.
Yeah, and we were able to recover in a very short time, and we've just continued building since that, building upon strength and strength. We look and see, we really are blessed people.
And again, I recognize sometimes that I have a very strong sense of identity, national pride, and because I'm amongst friends and because I have a strong confidence and love for this country, maybe I don't stop to think, but don't say that now. But there's a time that we need to champion who we are. And following Ivan, it would appear, both from what we recall individually as to what was shared and maybe what we now reflect upon, our country's leadership said to the outside world, hey, we got this, no big deal. Right? Because to us, that's how we are. There are some people in our lives that they'll take this pen and the camera can't see it, but they just moved it from that spot to that spot. For those who can't, I didn't touch the pen, right? But when they tell you the story, what they did, you would think that they invented the pen, manufactured, mined it, did everything, right? Blowhards, right? We, as a people, with such humility, would conquer the moon, saddle and, the dinosaur, and we go, nothing, just a little cup of coffee. That's who we are. So I wonder to some extent if in saying to the outside world, it wasn't nothing, no big deal, and in a short order, we were up and running, if we haven't done ourselves a disservice and allowing people to this day make disparaging comments. somehow we have demoralized our people, devalued the effort, and as a consequence, draw a divide between those of us who go, wait a minute, I remember this thing. This was hard. I remember, if my father would forgive me for sharing, he looked around, right? And he said, okay, the trees are down, that's bad, your mama plants, but he worried about them. You lost your roof, you did this, whatever. But there were two things that were important to him. Looked around, everybody's good, everybody's okay, everybody's alive. And then the photos, the things that can't be replaced. That was the thing that was the greatest loss to him. That don't matter, right? That was important, it was costly. Everybody's good, and these mementos, these keepsakes, these things of blessed memory, right? And when I saw him sitting in the back, and I go, wow, that's what is important. So when I hear people who come here and beat up their gums, man, if you tell me, so we have a chance now, Ms. Natisha, to reflect and to unite.
Yes. One of the things that we do, because this is a joint effort, a joint project with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage and the Cayman Islands Museum Board of Directors. The one thing we've done in the last few weeks as we've been planning this is that sharing of information, sharing of photos. One of the directors of the that sits on the board, Miss Terry Marin, graciously said, I have thousands, and I can confirm when she said thousands, she meant thousands of photos that you can have. I want them on display. I want people to see them. So a part of the event is going to be a photo capture of what was then, what you saw right after the hurricane. Like, she went around the island from West Bay to East End taking photos, and then she went back 20 years later and took photos of that same thing. So you have the comparison, and that's the kind of the exhibit we're going to have there, is that photo collage of, oh my God, look at this house and how it was so damaged, but look at it now. 20 years later, we've rebuilt better,
we're flourishing,
stronger.
No, and I consciously ask that because for some of us, we see it, and that resilience, that resolve made me question, well, when we told outside world, I understood why we did it. There's that humility. You read from something that was published in 1910. My math not good, but that wasn't yesterday.
No.
And this is 2024. So for anyone who can do the math, get a calculator, put another one carried or two, you can do it. It's not long division.
And imagine at that point in 1910, Hearst didn't have the advanced technologies we have now.
Right.
To know that the hurricane was coming ahead of time.
Yes.
They had the point. I mean, and that was the thing with the 32 storm was that they knew a storm was coming because they could see the pre stuff that was happening, the birds taking flight and whatnot. But they didn't know the severity that storm was going to be. And the one thing that we want to make sure that we put out there, and that's the flourishing part of it, is the fact that the advances that we've made in disaster management and mitigation and in weather technology. John Tibbetts, I spoke to him this afternoon. He was very happy to be invited to be a part of the panel. Danny Coleman, the director of hazard management, both have confirmed that they want to be there to talk about the fact that, we had advances 20 years ago, but compared to now, it's even better. So being able to look forward and see that and almost prevent the loss that we had 20 years ago.
And if we look, right, and I respect on the Commissioner of Police's comments yesterday, and reflect on what they're doing in terms of preparation, as he said, security, law, and enforcement. But appreciating that not only have we almost a tripling of the population almost, we have a different social dynamic. We have a different sort of geopolitical landscape unfolding globally. And people say, what has to do with Cayman? With everything. And my honest estimation that in the Cayman psyche, a hurricane approach is going to help everybody. When it's over, it's going to help everybody. We're not going to be looking at looting and stealing, but things have changed. Not just the people who've come in with a different mindset, but we ourselves might go, oh, that's what you do. It's an opportunity. It's a free for all. If we allow that to become the ethos, that's going to affect a lot of things. So instead of those pair of hands who are out helping you to clear the road, now needs to put a gun to secure a building. Really? Go back to my father's. He's looking at the photo albums and all the other stuff, insured or not insured. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Just picture this baby 50 years ago. That's what's important, right? People hear that and go, you've been anti. No. Open your mind. Stop being so closed-minded and see what is important. If I might through you ask, first, Miss Tanisha, you were here like me. Young Miss Conley was, doing what we are hoping all of our young people will do. Go pursue their tertiary education, right? Two things. One, after the hurricane, you went outside and you looked around and you go, I don't recognize this place.
No, you didn't. No.
It looked like,
like a bomb dropped, literally. Yeah.
Everything that we've said, and we've have family who've been in those war zones, was it disorienting to you? To look around and well, where am I?
Well, when we were finally able to get out of the house, we were pounded with quite a bit of wind and rain for several hours. It was really interesting to come out and not recognize the landscape because so many trees had lost their leaves. Your neighbors had lost their roofs. Things that you thought could not be moved were moved by the wind to show you how strong the wind was. And the first thing I did, was you check your house, you check your neighbors. There was no phone at the time. We were just starting. I think I got my very first text right after Ivan, and my phone pong, and I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, what is this? It was, so it was very interesting.
Yes.
But it was very, like you said, the landscape was very different from what you knew from before. There wasn't any birds. You couldn't hear them singing. It was just very quiet. People were dazed and confused because you came on, you had no idea what happened.
Disorienting, right? I mean,
completely.
My brothers were probably joking, say, boy, you would get lost in a circle. But as we navigated from one spot to the next, we went across the Red Cross to check things out, to donate, and as you're moving, I'm glad that they paid attention to my father and learned how to navigate. I'm looking out and going, where am I? And not that we have to clear the roads as we go. The community has come together to make sure everybody's safe. Families in Georgetown are worrying about their families in East End and making a trek to make sure, because you can't communicate.
No, you couldn't. So my mom is from East End, and we were, we tried to get up that side because we didn't have any contact with her family.
No.
So people who were here would remember Mariners Cove was in the middle of the road, and it cut off Georgetown from the other side of the island. So we literally had to wait until a backhoe came and, secure that no one was inside of the building first. No one was dead. No one was injured. They pushed a way through it to drive through the road. And it took us over an hour and a half, maybe 2 to 3 hours to get to Easton because there was no road. Town at the time probably had about 3 to 4 feet of sand in the road. And, you just had to drive very gingerly going up that side. And you saw a lot of images that will stay with me for a lifetime. And eventually when I got to Easton, I remember my grandmother and, my grandparents had lived in the same house. And their house wasn't damaged. It was one of those old Cayman homes where their house was not damaged. And my grandmother was outside picking up some sea fans. And again, the resilience of Caymanians. And, she'd been through the 32 storm. And she's like, hon, this is just life on an island. So I always remember that attitude that my grandmother in her 80s, been through several storms, got through Ivan. And she just came out. She's just like, you want something to eat?
But what's interesting, right, is that I hope people don't misunderstand. She wasn't dismissive nor casual. She prepared, she understood, but the resolve in her at that age as she came out, she was able to respond, to recognize what's happening, and to assist, right? Cuddle this one that was needed comfort, feed this one that was a little famished, right? The same with my father. Now, they're a different stock. I say that to share two things as we go into the break. You guys have a extra time? She's like,
yeah, we're good.
Well, I know, Miss T, if you have to roll, you can.
She don't need to go nowhere. She can stay right there.
So what I'm hearing you say is you don't want to be left alone. Okay, that's fine. But two quick things, right? One, that community spirit, as exhibited in many, Mr. Jesse, he took his backhoe and like many, The community didn't wait. You read it from 1910. We didn't wait for government to come. We didn't need no military, no militia to come up with their guns and their foolishness about clearing the roads and make it safe. We did what needed to be done to get it done to make sure people were safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's crucial. That is crucial. And that's who we are, and that's what we need to do. So you got some things to tell us about, Ms. Conley, when we come back?
Yes,
All right,
I do.
let's do this news break. We invite the listeners to share. And if you think today is a good day, you check tomorrow. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. A groundbreaking ceremony for the Central Scranton Park. The event on September 12th at 5 p.m. will take place at the park site on Miss Francis Street in Georgetown. This new park will serve as a key green space in town, featuring a multidisciplinary sports court, walking trails, playgrounds, and areas for community events and gatherings. The public is invited to attend the groundbreaking, which will feature light refreshments. In regional headlines, Jamaica's main opposition, People's National Party, says it will not be contesting the upcoming by-election to be held in the constituency of Northeast St. Anne. The by-election to be held on September 30th was announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness during a press conference Wednesday. The announcement was made following Monday's resignation of the Member of Parliament for Northeast St. Anne, Marcia Smith, with immediate effect. The World Health Organization said today the number of deaths caused by cholera is on the rise globally, with the French-speaking CARICOM country of Haiti among countries recording increased cases. The WHO, using features provided by the Global Cholera Statistics for 2023, said more than 4,000 people died from the disease last year. That is a 71% increase compared to 2022. The number of reported cases also increased by 13%. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
The DVDL Customer Support Unit is now open. Customers can book appointments for written and driving tests through DVDL's hotline at 945-8344. That's 945-8344.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And hopefully, with a sense of pride, we will reflect on not just Hurricane Ivan and the 2 decades since, but on who we are, where we are now, how our impact has been positive or influenced by what is transpiring around us. So to Ms. Ventisha Conley and Mr. Barnes, I thank you both. There are some moments in our lives where that thing means something to us that caused us to rethink to perhaps this is just as an important time as this, But Hurricane Ivan, as we reflect, through you, Miss Conley, you reminded us that next Friday.
No. Next Wednesday, September the 11th, starting at, the doors open at 5:30. The event starts at 6 p.m. Okay. It is at the Cayman Collection Center, which is the old motor museum in West Bay. For people that are coming, we ask that you park in the Cayman Turtle Center parking lot, and we'll have a bus that will shuttle people back and forth because there's very limited parking in that spot. The event is free to the public. We invite everyone to come on out. If they want more information, they can check our Instagram or Facebook pages, or they can give us a call at 244-3240 or send us an email at ysch-events@gov.ky. And it is the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Ivan, so the event is titled Flourishing After 20 Years, a reflection of Hurricane Ivan. Okay. So yeah, we're quite excited to talk about this and to get everyone's perspective. We are going to have a part of about an hour of the event is going to be panelists talking. So we'll have panelists like Fred Sambula, who was the Director General of the Weather Authority previously. And by the way, I should have said this probably when we started, but the co-MC with myself will be none other than Mr. Oric Connor. So
for the record, if you're not catching it, tomorrow morning is a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
So I will MC kind of the first half of the event, and OC then will take over. Because at the time of Hurricane Ivan, OC was cabinet secretary, and then led some of the cleanups and things that were happening after that. So someone with more extensive knowledge to keep that to mold and moderate the questions that's going to happen around the panel. So we'll have a then panel that'll talk about what it was like, what happened 20 years ago, and so on and so forth. And interestingly enough, when I was on OC's show last week, I got back to my office, and probably within an hour or two of me getting back, email pops up from Will Pinot, Chamber of Commerce. And he goes, "Listen to you this morning. Would love to be a part of whatever you're doing. Let me know how I can fit in there." Mm-hmm. So Will also has been asked to be on the panel, and I'm pretty sure I've got an email confirming that he's more than willing to be a part of it, because the Chamber of Commerce did play a big role in that build back with the islands. So that's the then. We have a few others who haven't confirmed yet, but we're hoping that they'll see their emails and reach out. And then we'll segue into the now, and persons like Danny Coleman, who's the now Director of Hazard Management, John Tibbetts, the now Director General of the Weather Authority. The Deputy Governor has agreed to be a part of the panel to talk about how we're prepared now for something like this. I've specifically asked the Deputy Governor to talk around how the civil service is prepared going into what could be a huge national disaster for us. And so we want to balance that.
And here's an opportunity for us who were there then, either in absentia like Miss Connolly, or physically, or who have family. I think back, Ms. Barnes, to your comment, we're in Grand Cayman, and we don't know from one district to the next how our family is. our family and friends who are in other jurisdictions, other nations, watching, that weather channel, whatever that is called. Oh, the islands are wiped out.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, right? Frightening people over there,
Mhm.
right? And yet we here have to navigate, manage the anxieties that exist. And then finally, when your family make a connection, oh, thank heavens, thank God. So that's where the now, in terms of the
Yes.
technology, the preparation, but also the resolve in our people to understand how important it is to be your brother's keeper. I say this hopefully to encourage and to champion and not to cause people, because I say that, to do otherwise. But our CERT programs, the community emergency response teams, how invaluable they are in building a community and building resilience and knowing your neighbors, helping with your neighborhood watch and checking on each other. That's community.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You know that Mr. John is, an amazing tailor. Miss Jean, she can swing a hammer as good as anybody else, or better than most. You know who's in your community, and you know who they are. There's a face and a name and a location. That's what we need. That's what we had.
And I comment on that, thinking back to Paloma and the
Yes.
hurricane that I was through, because in my district, everyone knew that Ventisha is a teacher, she's a coach, she should be prepared for all of that, and I was. My car is never without a first aid kit. And after Paloma, an elderly lady who lived at the top of my street, God rest her soul, Minister Kenneth Bryan's grandmother, Miss Sylvia Christian, wouldn't leave her home. Even though it was her only in the house, her son had left, and because his house was behind hers, he had went to the shelter. But up until 9 o'clock the night prior, the paramedics were there at the door. Come on, it's just you. We want to make sure you're safe. No, she wasn't leaving. She'd weathered Gilbert and Alan, and she was just naming them off in her house that her husband built. She wasn't leaving. And unfortunately for her, she got hurt that night. And as soon as day broke and we could get out, one of the closer neighbors went to check on her, only to find her sitting in her place bleeding.
Yeah.
And they came down and trekked through waist-high water that was at the top of my road to come and get me to go and help. So that's one of the things of having those CERT teams in districts, to be able to manage those things, because at that point we were all blocked off. It took putting her on a backboard in a bulldozer bucket to a truck to get her her to help. So those are the kind of things we want to hear, those stories of resilience and how neighbor helping neighbor, community coming out and making sure that everyone in the community was safe during that time, and how they moved on from there. Because I reckon a story, someone said that in that line for getting ice and water and charging their phone, it was the richest of rich people and the poorest of poor, and you were all equal. Trying to get ice after Ivan, trying to get water, trying to get 10 minutes to charge that phone. So there is going to be an open mic segment of the night that we want to hear those stories.
And as you share that, Ms. Ventisha, I think the wider community need to recognize a couple of things. One, there are those of us who were not here, who came shortly thereafter, who may speak as if they had an experience separate and apart. They may have been opportunistic, they have been like parasites, but the fact is that they have been and is and now affected. But more importantly, our elderly in particular, they've been in their spaces, and we need to understand what it is and why they may wish to remain. As you shared that, I'm thinking back to my granduncle in New Orleans, during Katrina. Family members shared that, despite his 8 decades plus or whatever it is, he wasn't moving from where he was, right? You can infer whatever you want, but if you don't have the respect for them and their resolve in what it is that is driving their mindset. Now, New Orleans is in a bowl, and those who understand weather and all that stuff may appreciate it, but it's no different from Miss Venticia's example or the others in Grand Cayman doing Ivan. But can I also ask, as we look at Hurricane Ivan in 2004, we seem to not, well, when was Paloma? How long after?
2008 or 9.
And there's a reason why I ask. One
2008.
Yeah. We take a beat. How long was it? But it was in short order that what was the refuge for Grand Cayman after Ivan became the refuge now in reverse for Cayman Brac. And the two islands separated by a very deep body of water understands the importance, right? And this is where I ask people, don't let people say a boo and frighten you. But don't be, ladies with the grace, guide me that I'm not saying it correctly, but don't let people stand and walk all over you. This is one of the best places. And this is why I'm becoming increasingly more impassioned to say, listen, stay in your lane. If you don't know where it is, the corner's there, sit down. But if you bring your hands and help, we're going to work together. Because after Ivan, without question, the people who just came together, almost out of necessity, but I think it was a reawakening and a realization that, like my father, he said, listen, that thing may or may not be replaced with insurance, but this thing, these photos, this particular ornament that your mama got from you when you were 2 years old and now 100 years old, that can't be replaced. That's what's valuable.
And to your point, I think Ivan really redirected what was important, and we learned a lot of lessons from that. Some things can be replaced, some things are not, but we've learned so much, and we saw with Beryl coming up a few weeks ago how prepared the community was, and I'm so proud to to see that people took it serious, that they were watching it, they went out there, they got themselves prepared, and I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons we've learned from Ivan. Is not to take these storms for granted, or to be prepared. And between 20 years ago and now, you see that there's definitely been a much an increase in people being aware, being prepared, and the weekend before the storm was even scheduled to hit, the supermarkets, people were there, they were getting their stuff ready. For me, I learned since the hurricane, because at the time I was working in the schools, I was one of the last people to leave the school, and it had literally no hurricane supplies after Hurricane Ivan. So I learned very quickly, moving forward, in April of each year, I stock up so that my cupboard is full, that if a storm comes with us working in government, we're usually, out there getting things prepared.
We're the last people.
We're the last
people to go home.
So I keep my stuff. So again, these are the lessons we've learned from it. And so how do we let people who are new to our community know that this is something that we have to be prepared for for 6 months out of the year. If there is a CERT in your community, I would encourage people to join that. And as much as, we give planning a hard time, people usually have, that was one of the results of Ivan.
The planning department has
very rigid
standards, but very rigid standards for a reason.
And that's a result of Ivan as well.
We can say that because there's a juxtaposition to that too, because then you look at those older Caymanian built houses like your father's house, Mr. Arthur's out on the waterfront,
which has been there forever.
Down on South Church Street. There's that McCoy's Villa, some older Caymanian houses that has stood the test of time. But you have those houses that were then built in the 70s and 80s that are built, and I say this with all the love in my heart because I lived in the Midwest. So I lived in Tornado Alley during college. All of their houses are built out of wood. You get very few of those older ones, and again, the older ones that were built out of brick in the Midwest that will stand the test of time. But you have a lot of those houses that are built from wood. And I literally, you call it kindling. Because those ones that were built in the 70s and 80s, little bit of wind, little bit of rain, and they're gone.
Well, for me, I look at the timeline a little bit differently, right? 'Cause I think those houses were built stronger than the ones that may have been built in the 90s and early 2000s using a method that they must have borrowed from somewhere with people who didn't know what they're doing, sort of following the Mr. Arches and building the way they built, right? And with your comments with the planning, I commend them for it. Prior to a year or a little bit before I wanted to build, I was talking to my father, and I said I'm going to borrow, their approach where they would elevate their structures. Now I wasn't going to use ironwood because I didn't have access to it. I couldn't do wattle and daub, because I didn't know how to do it, couldn't get the materials, but I could borrow the concept. Went to planning, said I want to do this, I want to elevate, because it does a number of things. One, it reduces the amount of fill that I can't afford to get anyway. I can't pay for it even if I could find it. And it allows it. Oh, you can't do that because that gonna make your house, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories, and we can only do. But they've amended it to understand the importance that you respond. But it took after the fact. Here we are now, 20 years later, seeing the importance. And if we drive through Florida and some places, Carolinas, we see homes that are, I call them on light poles, 15, 20 feet up, so the waters can go away through. But also, it allows the particular landscape to be protected from construction. So as we reflect, and this is why I'm asking, flourishing or floundering, what are we doing that is positive? We have the final break. You guys have been very polite in allowing me to vent. That's good. But as we invite all and sundry for next Wednesday, there are other things that come up, so I want you to share with us, all right?
No problem.
All right, I got a taste of chocolate. I got some later. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Creative Fashion School is open and ready for registration. Come and learn a lifetime skill. Sewing classes will start in September. Our after-school sewing program, your choice of 1 day per week, Monday to Friday, Monday or Tuesday. Join us for the advanced and pattern making class. Wednesday or Thursday, you can register for basic sewing, dressmaking, and tailoring classes. Come Saturday, it is time for home decor class. Don't forget to inquire about private classes. Sign up or call 546-6962 or 928-0344. Creative Fashion School is located on David Foster Drive, Bacadere Warehouse, Unit 216, upstairs. Creative Fashion School.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thank you for joining us. And to Miss Tunisia Wines and Miss Ventisha Conley, thank you both. I look at our Cayman Islands, and I look at visually, literally, and deliberately, very consciously. I either walk into town because I love the library, or I drive through, and I always look at that statue that's right there. That tells us that the women, who are our mothers and grandmothers and sisters and aunts and daughters, are women of great resolve and resilience, right? And, the Esthers in our community, I'm so glad that increasingly I'm seeing more and more and more come through our studios. So to the others that have said something similar to, can I also say to the two of you, don't let people, frighten you, dissuade you. Thank you for who you are and your intellect and your inspiration, but also the commitment and dedication. And I think there's no greater time as this and no greater need than for us to stand in the gap. So Thank you both.
Sterling, I thank you for the comments. Dennis and I joke all the time that we've been through the gamut, and we're still here, and we still have a lot to go. 3 ministries,
25 years,
countless ministers. Yeah, so being able, and I mean, both of us coming from a teaching background, understand that ability and the need to have someone stand in the gap.
Yes.
And be that connection, and so in doing that with this event itself, also that's what we want to portray, that you know what, there is that ability to lose what was for what is now, and
with the old in with the new,
right? And to be able to, and that, I think that's kind of a big part of our ministry, and the ethos of our ministry is to make sure that we never lose sight of that. We focus on the youth, but we also put as much focus on our heritage and pull those together as much as we can.
And we realize is an importance to document everything, because now we realize that, you know, we have increased technology, people are using it a lot more, but how do we also introduce a whole new set of people of to what it is to be Caymanian, part of our culture. So having this exhibit next week is an opportunity for people not only to reflect on it, but also people who are new to the community to understand what it is to go through a hurricane such as Ivan, as well as for us to document it and have, because we'll also have GIS, sorry, they're not GIS anymore,
Department of Comms.
Department of Comms.
It still should be.
I still call it GIS. They're recording it as well, so that future generations can hear first-hand accounts of what happened in it.
Yeah.
So we're really big on documenting things and sharing it with people as well, the community.
But an accurate reflection and not a retelling of history.
I've said it time and time again, especially when we were on the radio earlier this year with Emancipation Day. You know, telling our history and telling our heritage and telling our culture has to come from our eyes, has to come from we the people, and not someone who's come here and see it.
But also, Miss V, and I make no apology, only to the extent that I offer it if it's inaccurate. But too often we allow the more obnoxious voice to influence what is being said, as opposed to standing in the gap and being courageous, right? You don't need to be confrontational, you don't need to be, but you need to understand that when somebody says something that's inaccurate, you can respond quietly and say, hey, you know, and correct. Or you can say, listen, now you've been making too much noise, now you got 2 choices, right? And that's what our people did in the past. And that's what we need to be mindful of doing. But there are many who want to sing a loud sheet, the teacher in the classroom, the pastor, the pulpit, the politician, who's this, but say what is politically expedient, popular, but without correction. Just because we know it's wrong, oftentimes what's repeated may become accepted. And when, you know, I say something that is good and you believe it, champion it. When it isn't, you know, chastise in private, praise in public. That's what we're losing, you know. And I would say one last thing before I do my closing comments. What are we doing, right, as we look at where we are now? Are we who are 50 and 70 looking at it and say, as we sort of age and as our children and grandchildren come of age, what are we doing to make that a place, a home that is accessible and civil, one that is successful and stable, where the political opportunity is fair and unfettered, where the economic entrepreneurship is there, but where the reward isn't just financial? When we fail to answer that, that is to the benefit of our own, or conscious to do it to the detriment of all, what's going to happen then? And it's not a philosophical position that I'm pontificating. It's a realization of what is transpiring globally and it's impacting us locally. Just a thought.
Just thought in a wider conversation there. But as we wrap it up, I do want to again invite the listening audience to come out next Wednesday, September the 11th.
5:30?
Doors open at 5:30. Event starts at 6.
Okay.
It is at the Cayman Collection Center, the newest.
Near the Turtle Farm, near the Turtle Center.
Thank you.
No, I still call them agriculture. So that's, I Mr. Macklin and my uncles worked there, so I still call it that. Yeah.
So near the Turtle Center, just opposite of Crack Hunk and Macabuca. parking will be in the Cayman Turtle Center's parking lot, and there'll be a shuttle taking you back and forth, and it'll be an accessible bus that older folks can be able to step up into.
Okay.
We will have some entertainment. We've invited the Dream Chasers Cayman dance troupe.
Is my feeling?
They will be dancing to a song called I Am Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure Susan can find that song and play as we come off the radio, because it is it's an older
version sung by Norma or by
so they will be doing a dance piece to that song, I Am Caymanian. I've invited our great friend there, Miss Susan, to her poem, and she looks at me today and she goes, I really need to get up there and say it.
Well, she has a recording of it, so she can lip sync.
So she's looking for the complete words of that for us to have there. And I've said to her, I said, well, I know you're behind the scenes, so if you really don't want to get up and recite your poem for us, we'll have someone there.
Quincy.
Okay.
Quincy. Yeah. One of the best orators I think this country knows.
He really is.
So we'll be utilizing her poem about Hurricane Ivan. We will have panelists there. We've asked and been quite pleased that Miss Lisa Arch Scott will be bringing the rendition of the national song to open the event. And it's going to be a lovely event. Like I said, we'll have a photo exhibition there, courtesy of Miss Terry Marin, for photos from then and now throughout the space. In the Ugland Cottage, there will be a video that's going to be on loop for at least the remainder of the month, and the exhibition will be up for the rest of the month. She put together a 23-minute video of photos and people talking and recapping stuff. So we'll put that on loop in the Ugland Cottage of the space. Throughout the evening, we'll have different panelists speaking. There'll be some other videos that we wanted to preview, and we will be bringing a moment of silence and prayer, thanking God for where we've come from, and asking for His continued blessings and protection for where we're going. I mean, we're still in the thick of hurricane season at this point. I mean, if you didn't know better today, that was a small tropical storm out there.
See, that's the thing. We look at a couple of things, and I want to ask for a figure. Many of us will find a reason not to. So we're not going to church because we have nothing to wear. Or so for this occasion, for many, they're coming off shift.
Come as you are.
So it's not.
It's a very casual event.
Yes. Come as you are.
Come as you are. We the doors are open for everybody.
Okay.
And I will say, and I'm just gonna do a little plug here. I know a lot of people have been waiting for our hashtag Caymanian Proud wear to come and to be back in stock, and I can gladly say we are finally restocked. We do have the t-shirts, and we've got a couple new colors to that, because previously we only had blue and white, so now we've added black and red. We still have the blue and white. We have green, a few yellow.
Green?
Yes, it's a part of our flag color. Come on.
Yeah, it's not my color.
I look good in green though.
No, but hang on. Because I know it's only three of us talking. You would look good in a crocker sack. You just have a beautiful smile. That smile of yours just lights up the dark.
That'll be the next set of t-shirts we bring.
Yeah.
I like that one.
You look good in a crocker sack.
So we have those shirts again in children small, medium, and large, and then adults from extra small up to 4X. We'll have a selection of those that's on sale at the September 11th event, and then at the Cayman Collection Center moving forward. And then we'll announce other dates and place venues that we'll be having those on sale. But we do have, I stocked properly this time.
No, it wasn't that you just stopped properly. The demand was overwhelming.
It was a really amazing demand. We were
that
so
was
happy
it. So
about it.
I've ordered 10,000 shirts. To meet the demand. So
that's almost my wardrobe.
So we will have sufficient, and we're sending a stock over to the BRAC to Shavila Burke, so that they can be on sale up there also. So that will be, if you want to dress down, and I love to dress down, so I'll have my Caymanian Proud shirt on that night, with a pair of slacks, a pair of shorts. Don't come in your birthday suit, but come as you are. That was specific for you. That was specific because you just
listen to me. I have a lot of confidence, but my mama raised a decent boy, so
yeah, it's open to the public. It is. We will have refreshments and drinks there for free for everyone. The gift shop will be open, and we're looking forward to a really nice event.
Because we didn't want the date to cross without recognizing it, because it did play a significant role in Cayman's history. And so it's an opportunity for us to reflect people also as well. So when we were looking at the images, it became quite emotional for some people, because you saw the pictures, you went through it, and that brings up some emotion as well. So we also have contacted, what's the name of the group again? Oh my goodness, I'm so bad with this. One of the counseling centers, for them to also offer support to people, because again, this is going to bring up a lot of emotions, and it was quite a bit when you reflect back on what you went through, because we were so busy just trying to survive and get through the storm, get through the aftermath, that seeing these pictures can bring back some of those emotions from then, and you reflect on it as well.
I'm so glad you shared that, because I'm recognizing that within me, that's what's stirring. Right? And when I hear disparaging comments about the country and its people, it's not just egregious and offensive. It is something that is so disparaging that people don't even understand their disrespect. And so unless you'll counter that, it then becomes, they can do that. No. I'm so glad to see so many remembering as they reflect, being reminded of the importance to unite. And so that the safety that we have, the security, the stability, it's all because of our actions, right? And if that is positive, it's going to be productive. And if it's productive, it's going to be conscious. And if it's conscious, it's going to be impactful. If it's going to be impactful, it must be again back to positive, right? So I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm honored that you would. Thank you for, let me feel a sense of independence and courageousness, and supported and nurtured. Safe, that's the thing that we talk about that we don't often have.
Yes,
you guys are amazing. I wanted to know that we have.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you at the event next week.
God spare life. I have made a note in my calendar. I've also, if the Honourable Minister of Tourism doesn't mind, the Scotland Park opening the day after. I would like to attend that. Not just to rub shoulders with Auntie and those guys, right? Because they might have beat me in football all the time, but they still share the turtle with me. So. But this is what makes our community that much better. And thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, to Miss Hayla Reid and her team for listening public as the month unfolds, from the elected ministers of government to others, we're going to have a series of discussions. You guys reminded me that not just on the 11th, but on the 12th, here on Talk Today, and then throughout the month, we also, as part of our annual approach to Ivan, reached out to a number of agencies, two in particular, that we're hoping that we'll have representatives from there to come on to give us a very logical, analytical approach that may help to inform and guide where we're going. And looking forward, God's willing, again to seeing you all next Wednesday, 5:30.
Yep.
It's going to be a good afternoon. Listen, thanks for being wonderful people, and as educators, you're always educators.
That is
so true.
All right. Ms. Susan, thank you very much. Is Mr. Art on in the morning? She says, of course, he's here always.
Yep. And I just want to say thank you to the listening audience. As I sit here and keep keep
Yes,
popping
ma'am.
up here. Even from the sister island, my friend Shavila Burke has just sent a message. I heard you. And you know, Joanne West, who was Joanne Christian, when I talked about her mom, she said, I remember that. So I do want to thank our listening audience for always tuning in and being a part of the conversation, even the silent ones that, you know, send you a message. We love hearing from you, and we love knowing that us being on the radio and telling you what we're doing and what's coming up with the ministry is being heard.
Yeah.
I know that our comms manager, Teresa Cole, if she hasn't, she's reaching out to the team here at Radio Cayman, because we do have a lot of items coming up.
She has indeed, yes.
And we want to come back on and talk about what's happening, because at this point, I laugh when I tell somebody I'm already into September of 2025 planning events that we have coming up. So we want everyone to know what we're doing, when we're doing, because we want everyone to be a part of that conversation. No child left behind, no person left behind.
Yeah, and it's also in response to the public who are always saying we don't do enough things to celebrate Caymanian culture. So with us being the Ministry of Heritage, we really want to use as many opportunities as possible to celebrate Caymanian culture and heritage and who we are. And again, from an education point of view, teaching people what it is to be Caymanian, how to be proud of these things, and why we do things the way that we do, so that there is some kind of method to the madness that we do, you know?
You see, that's
going back
thing,
to what you said, building our houses up on stilts and using ironwood.
Yep.
So there was a reason for that. So.
Their intellect, their wisdom is just, for many. I think in you saying that now more than ever, I can say, when I become governor, right? This is why more than 30 years ago, I always thought that our holiday, the next holiday that was to have been introduced, should have been in September.
Well, and that was when I was on the radio with OC last week. That's what somebody wrote in and said, what about introducing a holiday for that date?
Yeah. And it's if you look at our history, many a storm have passed, but September is that space and place where we miss our fathers and brothers and the other men who were at sea, where our children went from one grade to the next or from one school to the next. It was that seminal point, but that's a conversation, and I'll unilaterally make that decision when I become governor. Like Jaren when he becomes the next
premier. Yes, I'm looking forward to Jaren.
There you go, man. Ladies, thank you all very much. Thanks to Ms. Susan, and we're honored to be able to partner with you. Let's stand in the gap. Let's stand together. Let's stand with love. Let's stand united. Let's stand, proud as Caymanians, and as we extend the invitation to all who appreciate and value what we have to ensure that we put hands and hearts together. All right, join Mr. Art tomorrow morning for the record, and then we got some stuff on the program in addition to talking to hopefully at 12 the Honorable Deputy Premier is going to be our guest at 1 p.m. Until then, have a blessed, safe, please be mindful and careful on our roads, okay? Always, but especially when it's raining. See you tomorrow.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman.